Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with today's Photoshop tutorial. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to create layer masks to have two objects blend together at the same time. So this one is a normal photo of an airplane window. However, creating masks, we can change the background of some of these things and blend two images together. So let me show you a way you can do that. This is layer masks. That's what this whole topic is about. As usual, download today's exercise files, open them in Photoshop. Here we go. Open all of them, and we'll start with these ones. We'll start with the Blend 01. Make sure you have all today's practice files open so you can go through each one. Blend 1 through 10, and then layer mask 1 through 6 should all be open in Photoshop. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by seeing what layer masks do and how to hide or show them. So we need to stack two images on top of each other for this to work. So I have each of these blending ones paired up. So blend 1 and blend 2. You can see it looks like a before and after image of this room. So take blend 1 and we're going to copy it onto blend 2. And I've showed you multiple ways to do this. You can select all and then copy paste, or you can use your move tool to just click and drag the image up here and then drop it right here. Make sure it just lines up as best you can. There we go. So now to create a layer mask, you need to have the top layer selected. We're going to click this icon right here that says add a mask. However, you'll see right here it's grayed out because I don't have a layer selected. So let's click our top layer and then it becomes available to be clicked on. If you're using Photopea, these icons are essentially the same. They might just have different names. On Photopea, this says roster mask, but it's the exact same thing. So we're going to click add a mask. And you'll see what happens. Nothing happened visually, but down here there is a image, and now I have this white mask that goes with it. So this mask is essentially a cover that I can now add or erase from. And we're going to use that using our brush tool. So with this mask selected, we're going to come over to our brush tool right here. Click on the brush, and we're going to go to our colors right here. See down here at the bottom of the toolbar, if yours is expanded, it'll look like this. Might be a little easier to see, but you'll see we have black and white, or white and black, or whatever color you have right here. You might have accidentally changed the color to something else. If yours is gray and this is blue or something like that, it doesn't matter. Let's go there. Maybe your colors are something different altogether. In order to reset them, you're going to click this little tiny black and white icon. You see how there's this big one right here and then a little tiny smaller one right here. If you click that, that resets them both back to black and white. And we can switch them with this little arrow right here. See how this curved arrow switches the two? Depending on what your mask is, we want to use the opposite. So this one is white, so we want to draw with black in front. So the one that's on the top left is the one that's in front. You see how it overlaps the other one? That means we're in the front with this one. So we have a black brush now. Let's go to our size. For this one, set the hardness close to 0. You can see the two different ways it'll work. I'll have you do it with more hardness and less hardness so you can see the difference. Remember, hardness makes the brush softer, so the line is not as strong. We can make our brush bigger and smaller with our bracket keys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint with the brush, and you'll see the effects. If I paint with my brush now, I'm brushing away this top layer and revealing the bottom layer underneath it. Just like that. If you want it to be a stronger line right here, again, the softness of my brush is what makes this line fuzzy. If I want to do it differently, I can increase the hardness of the brush, making that line stronger. So now if I brush like this, you can see it's a much stronger line down the side right here. So now I could brush, and it's not a soft fuzzy brush anymore. Now I can get more of that straight line and a before and after. What you'll notice here is my mask has changed. I just brushed this whole right side with black, which is why this is black and white now. It's showing that this side of the mask is being hidden. So this right half of this whole layer is being hidden so I cannot see it. White will show and black will hide when you're painting a mask. Okay, and we're going to practice that a few times so you can get used to it because it's hard to remember at the beginning. But anything that's black is being hidden and anything that's white is being shown. You can always undo with the Control-Z button, or we can just paint it with white again to fix it. So if I switch this back to white, it will then show it again. So if I paint with white, I can make that part come back. And you see how it changes? Whatever you paint will be reflected right here. See, I painted that bottom corner and now it's right here. I just painted it with white to show it again. And you can switch back to black. So you can switch back and forth so you can see these before and after effects. So if I wanted to do before and after like this, I could paint this whole side black. And I could paint this whole side white to show the top layer. So now I have this before and after effect. That's what masks are. And again, this is non-destructive editing. It's a own separate mask that I can then delete if I wanted to. If I drag this layer to the trash can and hit yes delete, the mask is gone and the layer is perfectly fine. The mask is a form of non-destructive editing. Something like this might happen where you come over here to paint and you start painting and you realize you're doing this and you're going, what's happening? I'm painting black, but it's actually painting black here. And then you go to white and you go, what's happening? It's painting on the wrong thing. Make sure you have the mask selected when you're painting. You see I have this white line right here. I'm actually painting on the layer, which is what's causing this effect. You want to paint on the mask. So click that to have this highlighted. This was highlighted before, so that's what happened. But if you make a mistake, as always, Control Z, like it never happened. So if you have your picture highlighted like this, that will cause paint on the picture. You want to have your mask highlighted in order to brush like that, okay? Let's do it again with 03 and 04. You can see we have this before and after of this dog. Let's copy 03 onto 04. I'm going to click and drag right there, put them right on top of each other. And we're going to do the same thing. On layer 1, this top one, we're going to add a layer mask. Now we have this white protective mask, and we're just going to paint with black to hide it. It's already white, so if I paint with white, it won't do anything. See this white paint, it doesn't do anything because it's already white. I need to switch it to black. Remember, you can reset by clicking these little tiny black and white icons, and you can switch them by clicking this arrow. So if I want to now, I'm going to go back to a softer brush again. You can feel free to play around with hard and soft brushes. Like that. There we go. Now we have this before and after. Or if you want, you can do it as like a top and bottom half. Maybe now he looks like he's got furry pants on. Or vice versa. Looks like he's got a haircut from the neck down. However you want to do it, we're just blending these two images together in a fun way. And you can see, again, I painted my mask black, and that's how it's black right there. Do the same thing again for 05 and 06 with this girl before and after. Put one on top of the other and blend them together. Same thing with 07 and 08. We have this actor with his makeup. Blend these two together however you'd like in a before and after. And then same thing with 9 and 10. We have Luke and Leia together. Blend these two images, young and old, together. And then we'll move on to this next step of layer mask. So pause the video right now and complete all those blending pairs as I just mentioned. As soon as you finish, unpause back at this point to get on to layer masks. Okay, now for layer masks. So this is the thing I showed you in the beginning, where we're going to create a layer mask again to cut out holes in an image and have other images showing through it. So if you remember back to the original lesson, I talked about layer order. So we have our stack of papers here, and that's how Photoshop works with the layer order on top. When we create a layer mask, what we're essentially doing is we're cutting a hole in the image so we can see through it or around it. So this one, the same sheet of paper, I could see through it now because I cut out this hole using a layer mask. And that's what we're going to do right now. So let's start with layer mask 01. We're going to cut out a hole in this computer screen right here, and then we could put this image in it so it looks like it's on the computer screen. So we're going to go back to our quick selection tool. This is one we just used in the previous lesson, and we're going to select it, this whole inside right here. This should be pretty easy because there's a stark difference between the black and the white line. So I always like to range them from easy to hard so you can get used to it at first and then ramp up the challenge a little bit. So you'll see this should very easily include this entire thing. We just want this white screen. So for this one, there's two ways. We need to make an opposite mask. If I click add a layer mask, what it's going to do is it's going to do the opposite, and it's going to keep this but cut out the outside. That's not what I want. It's okay if that happens because there's two ways you can get to it. Let me Control Z and I'll show you the two different ways you can get to an inverted mask for this one. The first way is to have it selected and then click Add a Mask. And then all you have to do is hold Control and then I. And that will invert the mask. So Control I, invert. So see, here's the original. Black is being hidden. So the black part of that image is being hidden and this white rectangle is being shown. If I do Control I, it switches. Now the black part is being hidden, which is this rectangle right here. So I've essentially, just like that piece of paper I showed you, I've cut a hole in the image so I could see through it if I put something behind it. So let's put the image of that car back there. Let's go to it. Let's either copy paste or move it to layer 1. I'm going to drop it right there. Right now it is on top, so you can see it like that. All I need to do is move this layer underneath and I'll see through the computer. So if I take this layer and I drag it down to the bottom underneath, now it is behind the layer underneath and it looks like it's part of the computer screen. So that is how you create a layer mask to see through it. And I can turn this layer on and off. The other image is still there. It's just being covered by my mask. So what I want you to do now, as you probably guessed, do the same thing with layer mask 3. I want you to cut a hole in the window to make it look like this guy is looking at the shark. Take him from being on an airplane to being in a submarine. Do the same thing right here. Cut out this hole. So we will make our quick selection. Make sure it's a nice clean selection. Notice these edges right over here. You want to get these little parts of the window. So my selection is not super clean. Zoom in and fine tune it. I need to use my Alt negative mask to deselect this part. So you want to make it clean. You're not getting the edge of the window. We only want the glass. So clean this part up first. And again, take your time on this. Go back and forth a few times if you have to. Now I got to go back this way. Really make sure these lines are as clean as you can get them. Okay? And you'll create another inverted mask. Let me show you the second way to make the inverted mask. I showed you one. Let me show you the other one. The first way I just showed you is to hit the mask and then invert it with Control I. The other way to do it, you can notice my mask isn't fully clean. When you make the mask, it'll help you notice that it's not clean, and you can hit Control Z, go back, clean it up a bit better. Right about there too. Okay, the other way to create an inverted mask is hold Alt and then click this mask. So if I click the mask regularly, it makes a mask like this. But if I hold Alt, A-L-T, on my keyboard and then click it, it'll automatically create the inverted mask, just like that. And it saves me from having to do the Control I step. Once you've created your mask, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take this shark and put him right here. He's obviously on top. We can adjust it. We just need to put his layer on the bottom. And now it looks like he's behind the window. And he's saying, hey guy, what's up? I thought you were in an airplane. Now you're in a submarine. Check it out. Do the same thing with layer mask 5 and 6, as I just showed you in the preview. You're going to create a clip, use your quick select tool to select here, select here. You can select multiple areas at the same time. If I use my quick selection tool, I could select this window, I can select this window, and I can select this window. And now my layer mask would do all 3 of the holes at the same time. At any point, I hadn't mentioned this yet, but at any point you want to change your selection, you want to change your mind, you can go up to select and then deselect. That deselects everything and you can start over, and that's fine. Or the shortcut for that, say I do all this, is Control D. If I hold Control and then hit D, that also deselects everything. So if you make a mistake in your selection, you need to start over. Just use Control D or select deselect to get rid of everything. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut out these 3 windows and put Paris in the background of the airplane. As usual, once you are done, I want you to take screenshots of all your edited work. So you don't have to take a picture of every single file. Just send me the screenshots of the ones that you created an edit on. So something like this that you edited, this one that you edited, and all the other ones. So this one that you edited. You don't need to give me a screenshot of this because you didn't do anything to this one. Only the ones that you did your edits on. Take screenshots of those and turn them into Classroom. Okay? Have fun.